golfo aganero boda. O ama.
Mai na golfo knana genga. Anda kote anganak na mai kai mandirang bani.
O thou benign dweller in the serene ethereal heights of heaven, thou hast been kind and good to me beyond expression. Thou hast made the shaky plants firm. Thou hast nursed them throughout. Thou hast helped the paddy stalks fructify. Yea, thou, my friend, my partner, my ally, wilt partake the first fruits of my paddy harvest, ere my family and I taste them.
Do the gods hear the voice of the Garo?
Missy Saljong does. Perched above so high, he hears, he ordains, he pervades above all, in the skies, and below all, in the bowels of the earth to give life, to cause to grow and germinate our grains, the trees, the crops, the fruits and the flowers. To him we dedicate our Wangala.
Missy Saljong was a name that we soon grew to live with in the Garo Hills. It was clearly a name that had risen far above the complexities of the unwritten Garo mythology. To the Garo, whose principal occupation is agriculture, Missy Saljong, the sun god, is almost lifelike. Garo life centers around the main agricultural functions of sowing and reaping the harvest. So much so that they name the seasons by the stages of shifting cultivation. Of course, they also have a functional calendar derived from nature that guides them through the year, and more importantly, through the various stages of June, which is their principal concern.
Whatever we harvest, whatever we reap, rice, cotton, ginger, chilies, it is his bounty, his beneficence.
The beneficence of Missy Saljong is manifest in an earthy method of slash and burn or shift cultivation, better known here as Jhoom.
Do you feel the soft caress of the winter breeze? Do you hear the first echoes of the Jhoom to come? But wait, the Nokma calls.
The Nokma, we discovered, was the village chief, and it was left to him to decide who should get land to cultivate and where.
It is as Missy Saljong ordains. To each of us, a share of the responsibility of our land and the fruits thereof.
With the Nokma fulfilling his divine duty in late December, it was time for the rites of the Opata.
Opata in our language means to clear a little, and each family clears a small portion of his plot.
But should he dream a bad or unlucky dream, he will abandon the plot and seek another. The hallowed piece of land is demarcated at each corner with spliced bamboo.
Many moons ago, the first Jhoom land was set ablaze by the god of fire. And as the flames leapt to the skies, a servant of Missy Saljong drifted fatally close. Missy Saljong, we knew, would be angry, very angry. So, to appease him, we took the charred bones of his servant and used them to demarcate the boundaries of her Jhoom land.
The legend lives on, even as year after year, field after field is set on fire in the month of March. The hills and the valleys of the Garos are transformed into a blazing inferno.
We rejoice in this destruction because creation is soon to follow.
Indeed, for the Maraks, the Sangmas, Momans, Shiras and Arengs, who constitute the principal Garo clans, this is the fire of life. The Garo Hills form the western part of the state of Meghalaya. The terrain is hilly, with patches of low-lying flat land, and is bordered by the plains of Assam and Bangladesh. The thick forests and hilly terrain here have kept the Garos isolated from the rest of the state. The forests, too, have been somewhat untouched in the more remote and inaccessible areas, thus preserving a vast storehouse of rare and exotic plants and herds of wild elephants.
Is this the fire of our life, as ancient as our Machong?
The Garo Machong, or lineage, dates back many centuries in time, and in space it recedes beyond the mighty Himalayas to the mystic Tibetan Valley. Tracing a maternal descent, the Garos appear to have originally come from Tibet as a part of the migrating Boro tribes. They are believed to be a part of the Tibeto-Burman family. The faith of the Garos is also distinct. They believe in the existence of a multitude of spirits. Good or evil, these spirits, according to Garo belief, are everywhere. In the sky above, on the earth beneath, in the depths of the waters, in the dark caverns and recesses of mountains, in the trees and among the bamboo groves. And when they deem fit, even in the dwellings of the Garo.
We dwell on the hills, over the slopes, along the valleys, with timber and bamboo as our unfailing support.
Indeed, these long narrow houses, without a trace of windows and with 2 doors apiece at each end, are held aloft on mere wooden still. Precarious they look, but truly, appearances can be deceptive when it comes to Garo dwellings.
Welcome to my Nokra, my very first room. Behold the timeless legacy of the fathers of this home. This is our main room, the Dongram.
The Dongram is endlessly captivating. Ancient mementos and ceremonial artifacts, baskets, tools, cooking and eating utensils. The sacred instruments that adorn the walls are removed only on religious occasions.
Now, tread softly here, where our families congregate, the epicenter of our dwelling. Here stands a revered Manjuri post, the feet of the celestial being.
The Manjuri post is a sacrificial altar, the abode of the spirits. The area is dominated by a large carving of Missy Saljang, the sun, the eternal light, Susumi, the moon, the goddess of fortune, and the 2 giant lizards who, the Garos believe, rule the hillside.
Come in to where the fire burns and my pots bubble with froth, with rice, my crop of labor, my joy of sustenance, my measure of time.
Incredible yet true. Rice is indeed a subconscious measure of time for the Garo. The stock position in the kitchen indicates the time of the year and the stage of cultivation or harvesting. What does the calendar say?
Now is the time to call for rain. Our fields are charred and in their hues of black and grey, ready to absorb that which the heavens may shower.
The prayer for rain is also a prayer for protection against evil and the renewed strength of the soil to yield better and more. This is what the Garos call the Agal Maka.
To him we dedicate this sacred altar.
The Garo plants a fresh bamboo in the middle of his field.
From Missy Saljong, we seek a blessing.
The hair-like scrapings of the bamboo are kept hanging down.
We beseech thee, O Lord, to protect our new fields.
At this altar, an egg and cooked rice are offered. This, we were told, is an ancient fertility rite.
The rites of the Agalmaka fulfilled, our land thus fertilized, we scatter now the seeds of rice.
Back at the village, we discovered there was much rejoicing, drinking, feasting, and dancing. Legend has it that there was a time when the Garos were not even aware of what is now their staple diet.
There was no rice, only yam and roots, till one day the aroma from our pots ascended above the trees, the hills, the clouds, and reached the heavens and Missy Saljong.
According to folklore, the alien smell of yam and roots aroused Missy Saljong's curiosity.
And he came down to earth.
Amazed that the Garo knew nothing about rice, Missy Saljong gave him the seeds to sow and taught him how to cultivate rice.
He also gave us millet and the seeds of cotton and pulses.
The Garos were overjoyed.
That is why, even today, after every harvest, we offer a part of our first produce to our Lord Missy Saljong in prayer and in thanksgiving.
The abanok, or field house, is a solitary structure, standing like a sentinel on stilts or atop a tree. Here, the Garo lives in vigil over his land, and it is from here that he witnesses the marvel of nature when summer comes and the first shoots break ground. Summer gives way to the monsoons. Dark, ominous, and yet gratifying clouds drift perilously close to the hills. And then, suddenly, it happens. 1 million drops of rain descend on the parched earth. Suddenly, too, 1 million hues burst forth. It's the month of July, and it's time to purge the evil spirits from the fields. Time for the Miyamua ceremony, yet another manifestation of the Garo's tryst with time and space.
In time and space we move, from point to point, in a cycle that has no beginning, no end. That is life, the eternal process of Genesis. We create to destroy, we destroy to create, through time and space, in a perfect cycle.
Destruction comes with the sacrifice of a cock as the climax of the Miyamua ceremony. The bamboo altar bears mute witness to the offering to Mrs. Aljong. The entrails of the cock are carefully examined. Yes, there are all good signs of a bumper harvest to come. The clouds above are witness to the fruits of the Garo's labor. His crop now sways graciously with the wind. His prayers have been answered. His sacrifices duly rewarded. The mere sight of his bountiful crop fills the Garo's heart with joy.
We give to the gods with unrestrained hearts, and we receive in turn their bounty.
The bounty of the gods is now all for the Garos to reap. The harvest is on.
Bring out the drums.
Let them beat to the rhythm of the sickle.
The harvest is on. The air is rent with the cries of Ahia, Ahia. Blessed be our crop. Blessed be our people. Blessed may we be.
As harvesting reaches a feverish pitch, with hands on the job, the Garo's mind, however, is somewhere else.
We had burned to sow, we had sowed to reap, and now we reap to celebrate.
But the celebration of celebrations is yet a few weeks away.
Till winter sets in once again and the mist descends, till we bring home our crops, and till the Nokma determines the day, we must control the surge of joy that threatens to explode in our hearts.
There are other considerations too for delaying the celebration of celebrations. The preparations.
The best cows must be bought, the best ornaments made, new clothes woven, the house repaired and cleaned, and yes, rice beer brewed.
The quantity of rice beer is as important as its quality. What is a great celebration without these earthenware pots or dikas brimming with the elixir of joy? The more the dikas, the more the beer. And the more the beer, the longer the celebration. The rice has to be boiled very soft. And when most of the water has evaporated, the rice is taken out and placed on a mat to cool. A handful of yeast is then sprinkled on the boiled rice and left for half an hour. After this, the rice and yeast are put into a dika, which is filled with cold water. 2 or 3 pieces of sugarcane are added, and the dika is then covered with a cloth. The concoction is left to brew for about 2 weeks.
In the years gone by, our kram was made from the gumbil tree. How exquisite was its form, and how mellifluous its sound.
The gumbil tree is perhaps extinct. The Garos opt for a poor substitute, though they devote equal skill to drum making from the jackfruit tree. The finest hide is tempered and processed before being mounted on the 2 ends of the kram.
Our drums are ready. Our homes bear a festive look. Our chores are done.
As a part of the grand build-up to the celebration, there is still the shopping left. Come market day, and young and old troop merrily across miles of undulating terrain, with wares to exchange or sell, with frugal means to buy or procure.
There is a nip in the air that touches the soul, stirring the heart, before we are ready for the Wangala.
Wangala, the celebration of celebrations. It's time to regale.
It is time to rejoice.
Time for young boys and girls to mix freely with each other.
Time for selecting brides.
Time also for choosing the right groom. The land of the Garos is possessed from the first day when the sacred drums are taken out and consecrated with rice beer. The kram, a tiny drum called the natik, the bangshi or flute, the adil or buffalo horn, the rang or gongs, all are made pure and cleansed with rice beer.
Let us sing in praise of our Lord, Mrs. Aljong. Let our music fill the valleys. May He, so high above, hear our prayers. May He be pleased with our offerings.
The offerings to Mrs. Aljong assume greater proportions and diversity on the second day of the Wangala.
Before the first rays of the sun break through, let us pour the wine.
This is the ritual of Rugala. It calls for sacrifice and doubly for offerings.
Around the fireplace, on leaves of bananas, we serve our Lord.
All that comes from his very own harvest: white squash, ginger, onion, taro tuber, rice and rice beer. These are the Garo's humble offerings to Mrs. Aljong, who has stood vigil above his land through the many months of June. Then the dancing begins with the elderly males performing the traditional war dance, the Grika, nostalgic of the bygone days of heroism and valor. In the right hand is the Garo sword, the Milam, and in the left hand is the shield, the Spi. Soon after the Rugala ceremony, at the break of dawn, the Nokma's house is decorated with fine rice powder, mixed to a paste, wanti toka.
On the posts and beams, we leave the dots from our fingertips. On the ridgepole and doors, and on our backs, the imprints of our palms.
The smoke from the fire at the Manjari post has its own significance.
Smoke, do rise along this pole that holds the roof aloft, for if you don't and run astray, the signs are ominous for the Jhum to come.
After the Sasatsua, the festivities begin in right earnest, and they carry on for 3 to 4 days, depending upon how long the stocks of rice beer last. The dance, Wangala. Married men and women lead the procession. The dance of the Garo is first performed in the Nokma's house. From here, they move on from one village to the next, unrestrained, bound only by the form of Wangala, the dance, which, in time and space, reflects the joys, the sorrows, the travails and tribulations of an agrarian community.
Wangala, our dance? No, it is the story of our life. No sage told it better, no book ever had it right.
Of all the dances in the Garo Hills, Wangala is by far the most expressive and all-embracing in its representation of Garo life. As much as drinking, dancing too is integral to the Garos. Garo dances are performed variously during socio-religious festivals and on ceremonial or even recreational occasions. But in form, content, and the sheer occasion of its performance, Wangala surpasses all other dances in the Garo Hills. Nothing remotely comes close to Wangala in terms of expression, joy, gaiety, and the sheer spontaneous participation and interest it provokes. The Dokru Sua, pecking of wild doves. Dore Rata, in which the headgear of the men is slashed off. Dom Gonga, or lowering of the cock's tail plumes. Mirata, or harvesting paddy. Little of Garo life is left unsaid in the motions of Wangala. Finally, when all the beer is exhausted, the performers move to the Nokma's house, where the kram and the other musical instruments are replaced until the next Wangala. The eloquence of the Wangala is too precious to be lost on the sands of time. And yet, time has prevailed. Wangala survives today, though perhaps as a mere fragment of what was. Perhaps too, as just a dying glimpse of what may no longer be. The social fabric of the Garos is no longer homespun. It has turned synthetic by the day. The hills that once cocooned their world have been struck by the winds of change. Time, which had followed an unfailing circular course for centuries in these hills, is today quantified in transient moments. The cycle of life is now the straight and narrow path to progress. Jhum cultivation is on its way out. The environment must take precedence. Christianity has shaken many a resolute faith. Missy Saljong and his legend have suffered. To capture the many splendid nuances of the Wangala, we shuttled our unit from village to village, picking up a facet here, yet another there, and yet another, perhaps 150 kilometers away. In its entirety, the Wangala was nowhere there in the Garo Hills. But we were fortunate. Posterity may not be. Like a part of a lost chapter in history, Wangala may have to be excavated from the crevices of these hills. Who knows? Someday, some great exploration may unearth some artifact, some vital clue that would unfold the story of Wangala, the story of a culture long lost, the story of life, the way it was lived when Missy Saljong still held sway over the elements and the Garo world.
Banoni small bainga ane sandi baora manang sani tha gope thainga kosa nakke tonne hana